Thank you, everyone, and it's such a wonderful honor to have all of you join me in this movement that I call Live Life Today, and starting life right now. And Mañana starts today. So many people have asked me, where did that come from? And like, why Mañana starts today? And it actually started from my mother. My mother originally was from Panama, and she would often comment that she lived with a bunch of Mañana people. Because every time she would ask us to do something, we're like, yeah, we're getting there. When are you going to do it? I'm coming. We're going to do it. And she always said it over and over. And she said, I live with a bunch of Mañana people. And she'd just shake her head. And as I got older and on in my own life, I started to see it with myself and with friends that we were all sort of waiting. We were waiting to get the husband. We were waiting, if we had the husband, to get the children, make sure the children were out of school because we couldn't do our dreams. We had to wait for their dreams. So, you know, well, when they get settled, I'll go back and do this. And then after that, well, I'm going to wait till I retire. And then I'm going to wait for something else. And everybody I know is waiting for something. And then I realized, you know what? My mom was actually right. You know, Mañana really starts today. Because truthfully, tomorrow isn't promised to us. And we don't know what will happen or what turns will take. You know, most of us are waiting to get a better job, or we're waiting for the economy to shift. Well, if you've experienced, like me, a layoff or anything else, or you've got experience like me, debilitating illness, where all of a sudden your life changes, Mañana is now. And as that happened to me, it made me start thinking about my own life. And this book is sort of a result of that. And Mañana starts today is these affirmations that I came up with that it starts now, and they were from your heart, mind, and soul. Because people would say to me, I can't believe you're so cheerful. You're always smiling. Every time you look at me, good golly, can you be that happy all the time? And they would say it like that, or like, what are you drinking? Is something in your water bottle? You know, no drugs, no nothing. It's me. And I decided I just wanted to share a little bit of that with all of you. And so I thought I would start with the very next thing, which is not moving all of a sudden, but that's okay. We'll get it. The very first affirmation we all learned. Does anybody know what the very first affirmation children learn? It comes from a great book. The Little Engine That Could. And this little book, of course, we're in a library, so you know I'm going to bring another book. The Little Engine That Could, right? I think I can, I think I can, I think I can. Well, if you think you can and you think you can, you think you can, you will do it. But if you hang around with the rest of the people who are in here going, that hill's too big. Nope. You're too small for that. Nope. You can't do that. Nope. All of that's going to happen when you do this. But when you start with, I think I can, I think I can. And why I love this book, and I always use children's books in when I'm speaking, is that when we are kids, all the lessons are applied. You can do it. Go for it. Go here. Let's go. The older we get, all of a sudden, we stop dreaming. We stop living, and we start waiting. And nothing else happens. Trisha's going to come and help me move my slide along, which, of course, we love things that happen. It worked perfectly before. It's not moving. But that's all right. While it's going, we're going to go to the second slide, this slide, when you get there. So as we start, I figure I'd tell you one of my, the very next one is, today I scream my dream out loud. So today is a day to share your dream with the world. How many of you have dreams that you just don't share? Look in the mirror and scream it as loud as you can. And you imprint that dream into your vocal cords and your brain, and you get ready to share it with the world. So when you start your day saying, today, I am going to scream my dream out loud. How many of you in here, if I said that to you right now, would be willing in this small group to scream their dream out loud?
Well, they know the big mouth over here.
Who else? Scream your dream out loud.
I'm going to move to Oregon.
You're going to move to Oregon. All right.
I'm moving to Italy.
Moving to Italy. Scream your dream out loud.
I want to travel more.
You want to travel? Okay. Jennifer. I'm going to pick on Jennifer because I know her and she's a friend. Most of us say, I want to travel. Where do you want to go?
I would like to see Bavaria.
Ooh, okay. And the reason that's cool, actually, what I love about that with Bavaria, she actually had a destination. Because most of us, when we're dreaming and we're thinking, we sort of do it really out there. And the reason I picked on Jennifer like that is because as we get older and as we're adults, we'll say, I'm going to do it, but we become shyer about it. So we're like, I just want to travel more, but you don't say where you want to go. You say, I want to dance. Where do you want to dance? I want to write a book. Most people say they want to write a book. 82% of the American population want to write a book, believe it or not. And less than 10% actually do. Because most people don't scream their dreams out loud to anybody. So when I talk about screaming your dream out loud, send it to your vocal cords, right? Whispering your dream today is not an option. This is the day to proudly scream your dream to every person that you know. You're going to treat it like the day you first fell in love. You know when you fall in love, you actually annoy your friends and family. So let there be light and then there's dark. You annoy your friends and family because usually what happens, you start telling everybody you know what they did for me, and you know what they did for me, and but if we ask anybody about our dreams, we don't do the same. We hold it tight in one spot. So this affirmation, today I scream my dream out loud, is all about taking it up one level, moving it forward. So on this day, proclaim your dream to everyone who is within earshot, and even those who are far away, because you never know who might be able to help you. Pick up the phone, send an email, whatever works. You will be so amazed that when you scream out your dream out loud, someone in the universe will be there ready to answer you with people, thoughts, inspiration. You might never know. I might find somebody I have a friend in the Peace Corps. Maybe she knows somebody in those far corners of the world. So we never know where it's coming from. So the affirmation, today I scream my dream out loud. It's a perfect place to start. Because if you ask a child, I started with the children's story. And if we ask children to scream their dream, they'll tell you for days and days and days. And that's cool. But as we get older, we start to silence it a little bit. Today, I create magical moments. Guess what? Magic is in the air. It's your magic. Everywhere you go today, feel that spark of creativity. Imagine that whatever you want is there for you today. And that burst of energy, it really comes from just being alive. So today the power is within you, and you can bestow your magic upon others, and you can feel the strength of who you are. Most people will say, oh, Sandra, I can't do that. Why not? You ever think you can? Go back to the children's story. Have the magic. Feel it. Believe it. Create your own magical moments. Rather than waiting for it to happen, create it yourself. And I would be remiss at this point, and Nancy actually introduced her, but this Jean is a perfect magical moment for me. And it was all about creating magical moment. And as I was writing the book, and I thought about what I wanted for the cover, I remember meeting Jean, and Patrick, the clerk at the post office, had said to me, "Have you met your new neighbor? You should meet her. I think you two would probably kind of hit it off." And I'm like, okay. And it was summertime, and I'm always walking through town, and summer is my absolute favorite time. So the sun is shining, life is grand, and I'm skipping gaily down the street while everybody else is melting because I love the heat. And I noticed she has these beautiful purple doors, and not suburban Millis lavender, but Sandra purple. You know? I didn't say where. You know? And what is really cool about that, she stopped me, and I shouldn't say she, Miss Jean, stopped me and said, "I just love the way you walk down the street." I said, "I wanted to meet you." And a friendship was born, and we started talking, and she told me she was this great artist, and we kind of chatted and said, "Yeah, we'll get together someday." And, you know, again, going back to the beginning of this book, Mañana starts today. Never knew when the mañana would be, right? And when Nancy spoke earlier about the history night that was here, I just finished the rough draft, and I said, I need to find Jean. Okay, I need to see Jean. And Jean walked through the door of history night. I said, "I was looking for you." And she's like, great. And what really happened out of that in creating your own magical moment is just putting it out there. And that when you put it out there, and whatever you put it out there to be, so be it. Here's the key. And this is where it gets scary. You can't hold attachment to it. So what happens with a lot of people is they'll put something out there, and they're like, well, it didn't happen. And then they give up, right? Because they held the attachment of how it was going to look, how it was going to shape, how it was going to be. Yeah, I just stuck it out there. Let it go. And then see what magic occurs from that. So the magical moment, as you tend your business today, discover the places where you can tap into that magic. People you might see. Magical moments happen when you allow the universe to conspire with you. And most of us say, well, it just ain't gonna work. And you know what? If you keep saying it ain't gonna work, guess what? It ain't gonna work. And I go, okay, it will work. So I ask you with this one to sort of, as it has been explained to me, it's called reverse paranoia. Okay? So rather than the world is out to get you and things are gonna be wrong, think about the world is out to do you good today. And the magic and everything's out there for you. So today it's just going to be, and it's just going to happen. And take it in with whatever form it shows up. You want to add anything to our magical moment?
I do remember, I'll stand up so I'm not mic'd, but I do remember Sandra, if you know Sandra, she walks all over town. And we're new in town. We had just moved to town. And I had noticed this woman who looked fresh as a daisy all the time. I was looking more like a migrant farm worker. I think I had a bandana on my head. I was painting my doors, and I was really a mess. And I had commented to my daughter that I was standing with that here comes that woman who always looks perfect and energetic and walks past the house. And my daughter said to me, "Oh, please don't talk to her." She said, "You talk to everyone." And I said, "Well, this is perfect. Don't you want to meet our new neighbors?" And sure enough, she walked by, and both of us were open to that moment of talking to each other. Neither of us had to. We could have put our head down like most of the world or the United States does and kept walking, but nope, we stopped, we chatted. As a matter of fact, now you know that my door's purple.
Oops.
The reason that I was standing outside was that I was trying to decide what color to paint the other door. There are a lot of colors in the world. Why would you ever paint both doors the same color? And I said to Sandra, that's why I'm standing here looking back at my house to decide. She said, well, it's a no-brainer. You have to paint the other door gold. She said, don't you know that gold, purple and gold, are the colors of royalty? And I said, you're exactly right. And believe it or not, that's exactly what I was thinking about to paint. Sure enough, I bought that gold paint the next day. And so my front doors are the colors of royalty. And I feel darn good about that, honestly. And it reminds me of Sandra every time she walks by and every time I enter my house. But being open. A good friend of mine said, you know, Jean, if you walk around your whole life with your hands folded or your hands in your lap, you're not allowing the universe to come to you. Open your hands, palms up, let it come. And I never used to do that. It wasn't until shortly before I moved here, and that's another story that maybe I'll have an opportunity to tell before the night's out, that I really allowed things to come to me. And if you're open to it, you will see, and even more, you'll feel opportunity. When it knocks, you'll feel it. And if you're not ever feeling it, you need to slow down and listen to your body and listen to those signals, because there's something that happens. There's this nagging thing in the back of your mind that won't go away. I didn't know her, but there was something about her that I couldn't let it go. And I think she felt the same about me.
Yeah.
Something happened. So anyway, you finish and I'll chime in.
You did. You're perfect. See? This is how it happens with magical moments. And the other one is very similar, so I'm going to actually just move through it. And infinite possibilities. Because also, when you create these magical moments, the possibilities just open for you. And as countless as the stars in the sky, the possibilities are endless. And you never know how it's going to show up. And you just deal with it and just have fun with it. Enjoy. I think my overarching message to this is just enjoy your life rather than anything else. Because here's really what happens. Most people are scared. So when I tell everybody, make sure your dreams are greater than your fears. Fear and faith cannot coexist at the same time. Choose one. And most people end up getting stuck in fear on what potentially could happen to an event that actually hasn't happened yet. They have no idea what's going to happen, but maybe if they go down the road, it could possibly happen. And they've created this entire scenario of their life, and nothing has happened yet, but they haven't moved. How many of you have ever been in that situation? Or your conversations in your head have conversations with the conversations, right? So you don't move, you are stuck. And I will tell you, this is one I can speak to personally. All of them I can actually, but this one, it just happened to me this weekend. I was prepping for tonight. And I woke up at 4 o'clock. After it showed up in the Country Gazette, I went to sleep, and at 4 o'clock, the conversation in my head said, oh my God, what have you got yourself into? And as much of the work that I've done and knowing about myself and coaching and living and being, those old tapes went back into my head on, I'm scared. Are you kidding me? And it's really interesting. It became about, are you going to listen to the tape in your head or actually what you just wrote about? Oh yeah, I guess that might be kind of good if I actually talk about what I do. It's like, no, your dreams are greater than your fears. Because when you have a dream that's big or you have a goal that you want to do, you have to be bigger than whatever fear is out there, no matter what that is. So live in faith of that. And you have to believe that there's a force that's greater than you. Whether it's God, universe, spirit, the divine, whatever works. For me, it's God. I know that there's something greater than I in this world. And that's what has helped me. And for me, faith is electric. It's moving. When we walk in faith, we're moving all the time. There's just this beautiful constant motion. But fear, you're going to stand still. Why stand still and not move? Because trust me, if you even took one little step, it's got to be better than where you were stuck. But most of us don't do that, do we? Because I know, it's like, oh God. Well, again, the conversation, but if I move, what would happen? Right? My dreams are greater than my fears. This is a neat affirmation to have every day when you're, whatever your goal is. For those who want, so many people say they want to write a book. And the one question I always ask, so are you writing? And they're waiting for that time. So you want to write the book. The book's not going to write itself. But when do you start? Your dreams are greater than your fears. And when you're committed to your dreams and you have faith, you're able to make constant conscious choices to help you on your path. So you play to live, you play to win, and you just kind of move with it. Have fun. When we walk out of the fear, whatever that fear is, and even if you take a step, somebody will either help you along the way and guide you in the proper way. But you have to be willing to move. I love, with watching the Olympics as it happened, most of those athletes have fear. But they're in the Olympics. They go for it. There's no thought, there's no backstory. They're just going for it. Make sure you live a life where your dreams are greater than your fears. Jean, you wanted to say something on this one, didn't you?
I do.
I knew you did.
I'm a visual artist, not a public speaker, and so I don't speak as professionally as Sandra does. But I do speak from the heart, and I want to relay just a little story about myself personally. I'm sure my family will be horrified when they hear me talking about our personal lives, but I was living in Boston before we moved here, in a big house with fancy cars and lots of jewelry and lots of mortgages and moving around all my stuff in my house and making sure that it looked good and keeping it clean and moving it again. And I felt like I wasn't really living. I just felt like my stuff was keeping me stuck. I wasn't sure how to get out of it, and I wasn't sure if I really wanted to, because that's big. When you have accumulated all that stuff, and you're 55 years old, you think, I can't possibly get rid of this. This is who I am. I have earned this. And my daughter asked me to accompany her to New York to see a Broadway show. Has anyone seen the new version of Pippin? If you never see another show, see Pippin. It is absolutely incredible, life-changing. I saw it 30 years ago, no comparison. I'll cut to the chase. Pippin is about a young man's life journey and really finding the meaning of life. Well, I thought I knew the meaning of life. I'm sitting in the audience on Broadway in the third row with my daughter, and the grandmother, Pippin's grandmother, comes onto the stage and she sings this song, "It's Time to Start Living." And as she sang this song, something clicked with me, and I started sobbing hysterically in the middle of this show. My daughter kept looking at me, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" Something clicked with me that I was living in fear of exposing myself, I guess, to the world, and in fear of change. And I couldn't get that out of my head. For the rest of the weekend, for the rest of the month, for the next few months, I came home one day and I said to my husband, "We have to change this up. This is not working." But fear, again, fear keeps us where we are. And I kept thinking, what would you do with the rest of your life if you weren't so afraid? What would you do if you weren't so afraid? And I'm thinking, afraid of what? Afraid to give up everything that I have. And then it occurred to me, I don't really want any of this. So we put our house on the market, and I said to all of my children, I lined all 4 of them up, and I said, "I would like to give one of you a down payment for a house. I don't want a house anymore. I want to live somewhere in a few rooms on your property. I want you to take care of the house, and I would like to start living." And we did. One of my children, my daughter, said, "Let's do it." And she started looking for a house, and we found this big old monstrosity here in town. And she lives in the big house, and I live in the, I'll call it the carriage house. Some people call it the barn, but I'll call it the carriage house. It sounds a little more elegant. In 3 rooms, and it's the best 3 rooms I've ever lived in my life. I got rid of most of my possessions, and I live next door to my 2 amazing grandchildren and my daughter and my son-in-law. My other son moved into the servants' quarters on the 3rd floor, so we have our own little compound. And I feel so free now that I let go of that fear. I can dream again. I was so stuck. I can dream again, and I am. We leave for Colombia this weekend, and we'll be there for a week, going to the Jazz Festival in Perugia, Italy, for a few weeks in the summer. I can do things now. My possessions haven't trapped me they don't trap me anymore, and it's because I let go of that fear. What would you do with the rest of your life if you weren't afraid? We're all afraid of things. I know it. I thought I was pretty brave before, but when you chuck it all and start over, it's the best feeling. You should try it.
Thank you, Jean. Oh, good. Now that.
And this is how we met. I would never have met Sandra because I was too busy dusting my credenza. Really. I was outside. I was free to do what I wanted to do now. There you go.
Thank you. Now, on that note, today, trust yourself. Here's the deal. Most of us don't trust ourselves. We make these commitments, and I often piggyback this affirmation with today, I keep my word to myself. And most of us keep commitments to other people. And if we have to be somewhere and we promise somebody, we will do absolutely everything that we can to keep that commitment to someone else. But we don't honor ourselves and we don't trust ourselves. And what happens is when you stop honoring yourself and you stop trusting yourself, the next time you say, I want to lose, especially in January, everybody wants to lose the 10 pounds in January. And January 1st, the New Year's resolutions, I'm going to lose 10 pounds. And January 15th comes, and they never got to the gym, but they're going to start on January 16th. And your brain has already determined you're a liar. You don't trust. They're like, you're never going to do that. Because you never kept the commitment to yourself. You really don't honor it. You don't honor yourself. You don't trust yourself. So you don't even trust what you plan on doing. So nothing gets done. A lot of the mistakes that I can say that I've made is because I ended up listening to other people. And if I had listened to that inner voice that knew what was best for me, I would have been further ahead. But most of us get caught up in listening to others. We listen to society. We listen to what's on the news. You know, all of that. And so we don't trust ourselves. And so when you can learn to trust yourself and use this as an affirmation that today, just for today, I trust myself. That today, in whatever in my gut, I know the right thing to do. So that no matter what anybody else says to me today, I'm going to stay on course because I know what is right for me. And it doesn't matter what outsiders think. And you might have to say, thank you for sharing. Because everybody's going to say, well, you know, here is what you should do. Because I got to tell you, people are great. They're really nosy. They love interfering in somebody else's life rather than their own. And when they do, don't take offense. Because I used to do that. I'd get really defensive and go on the offense. Go, thanks for sharing. And continue on the path that works for you. Know within yourself that you are the person in control. And once you get into that quiet space in your place, act on it. And sometimes it might be a feeling. It might be saying, yes, we should do this. Or seeing a play and coming back and saying, I'm chucking it all. And my children are going to take care of the house and not me. You know, whatever that is. It could be full of whimsy. Or it could be rather than full of fear. Because when you trust yourself, then you know what to do. I often love when you watch animals, and we talk about that we're animalistic. Animals have that instinct. They know what to do. If they're going to move, they're either going to go or they're not. And I love that. And if you could say to your animal, come, and they're like, they're like, no. How come we don't do that for ourselves? Today, trust that place within you. Trust your being. Trust yourself. And then you start down the dream road. And it starts to get a little hard. And you get halfway there. And you go, oh gosh, this is really hard. And you quit. So many dreams, so many goals are unfulfilled because we quit halfway through. We give up on ourselves, and it really piggybacks off of that trusting yourself, because other people are saying, I think that's crazy. And you start listening to other people, and you may have been going on that great right path, but you end up turning around because you go, oh gosh, maybe they're right. No matter what, don't quit. You know, when my mom was alive, I used to love on Access Television, they used to, for the Boston Marathon, they would show all the runners coming in. And she always wanted to see the last runners, not the first ones. And she said, yeah, because the whole news is there. Everybody's there for everybody in the morning and, you know, by 3 o'clock in the afternoon. But at the end, she's like, that's the person who needs the greatest clap, because they kept going. And It might take you for years to do something. But if you start on that course and you really believe it, do it. Don't quit. And no matter what, give it your all. When you say, I will not quit, rather than just like the I think I can, I will not quit, I will not quit. Then you're going to get those with the Ain't It Awful Club. You know there are those who live in the Ain't It Awful Club, right? You know that'll never work. I tried that. You know how many people have tried that and done it? Oh, please. You're wasting your breath. I wouldn't do that if I were you. Well, you're not me. And that's your answer. Well, you're not me. Thank you. Don't quit. Stay on course and keep going. When you use this as an affirmation and this morning you get up and you go, oh, today I won't quit. There were days when I was writing this second book, I just didn't feel like. And I'm like, oh, gosh. So I would write something just to write. And it was actually comical when I actually went back and read it over the body of work and then looked at some of the days. I'm like, oh, gosh, you were having a bad day that day. There was nothing that said you will not quit. It's like, quit if you feel like, But I kept on going. And that's the point, is just to continue moving. And then we're coming to the three last ones are some of my favorites, the one that I use every day. People ask, what are my favorite affirmations? Today I'm grateful. I wake up every single morning in gratitude. First of all, I'm usually surprised when I open my eyes that I'm still breathing. So I go, whoopee! There, So I'm like, yes! And I'm grateful. And most people can tell you all of what's going wrong in their life. But they're not grateful for the small things, for breathing, for talking, for walking. I said earlier when we started, I have rheumatoid arthritis, and it's pretty severe. And some days, my legs aren't working as well as I'd like them to be. And I'm pretty crabby, believe it or not. And yet, I'm still grateful that I have legs that are in pain, because there are some people who don't have legs. And that's how I set my own benchmark. And most of us, one of the things when I talk about this particular affirmation, I tell people to be grateful for every millisecond. Begin your day by saying thank you when you wake up this morning. And give thanks that the sun rose and that you were able to meet a brand new day. And when you say thank you first thing in the morning, you immediately access the joy to jumpstart your day. And now you have something to be grateful for at the end of the day, because at the end of the day, you're like, thank you, Lord, that you woke me up this morning. I'm like, okay, I actually got up. And what I tell people to do is to kind of create a thank you closet in their mind. So as you walk through your day and something happens, we sort of put it off as like a coincidence, or this or that. I put it back in my mind, and I'm like, oh, how cool was that? How cool was that? How cool was that? And that becomes my thank you at the end of the day, that I have something to say, today was a good day. And you'll be surprised when you peek into that closet at the end of your day. You'll be overwhelmed with the amount of things that you have to be grateful for. I know for me, each day is a brand new surprise of gratitude. And, for the wonderful people I might meet along the way, or someone calls that I haven't heard from, or you get a letter or a phone call. It doesn't matter. Or I'm walking in the street. As I'm walking, and if those of you see me, all of a sudden I'm bending down, it's because I found a penny. And I always love people like, well, is it heads up or heads down? I'm like, oh, stop that nonsense. A penny is a penny, right? I'm grateful that I found a penny. whatever it is, find that gratitude in it and be grateful. Now, this is my favorite because usually around Facebook, around the beginning of January, a lot of people are like, what's your word for the year? Or what's your attitude for the year? And how are you going to show up in the year? And it's thankfully the book was already out because people say I cheated, but I was like, today I'm going to wake up and this year is a year of shining. And I love that because I thought when you shine in your life and you're just filled with light and air. And I think about it as I think about the sun. So today you're filled with light and air. Shine and let the whole world see the sparkle in your eyes, your heart, and mind. Today is the day to celebrate your spirit, your light, and your truth. And let that brilliant, radiant beam shine so that others may see their own true worth through you. And when you light up the planet with your brilliance, new opportunities and people will see you. And just like the stars that light the night sky, so do you light the way for others to see their own path. You'd be surprised how many people will see themselves through you and believe in the power of your light. So that when the going gets tough, even the smallest glow will help you keep moving forward. Raise that vibration you have today. Shine lightly and highly, brightly and intently. And show up. Most of us show up sort of on the gloomy side. How you doing? I'm fine. What's going on? Good. And I go, hi! And people go, gosh, you're so loud. Yes! I show up as the big, bodacious person that I am. I stand in that shining space of me. When you show up and you can shine, others will reflect it back. And all of a sudden, it becomes that ripple effect. And they will shine as well. So show up and shine. Make it possible. Next time somebody says to you, hi, how are you? Go, great, and you? And they're actually going to think you're on something, you know. But let it be. Today, I fly on the wings of God. The affirmations in the book are heart-centered, soul-centered, and mind-centered. And so some that come from your heart space, you know, like I shine. And some are mind-centered, they're leadership bound. And then others are soul-centered. And for me, as I said, God has that presence in my life. And so I thank God, whether it's God, the universe, the divine source, for giving you wings to fly. So today, have no worries about the flight plan. You have absolute faith in the flight planner. And why this is my also favorite affirmation, this and being grateful, is because most of the day, friends see me and they swear I'm flying on the seat of my pants. I really am. Because I go, okay, God, this is up to you. And I put trust in the flight planner. So today I fly on the wings of God. And when you have that in-flight knowledge, you understand that you're truly blessed. Because whether there's an up or a down, you're able to embark on the journey with courage and with joy. And lastly, today I take action. It's one of my other favorites, or taking some sort of action. And here's how I think about it. As final thoughts, most people ask, like, how do you do these affirmations? What is it? Set an intention. When you wake up in the morning, whatever your intention is, however you set the intention, so is your day. How many of you have ever gotten out of bed, and then you hear this phrase all the time, I got out on the wrong side of the bed. And that's how you are for the entire day. And you're like, this whole day, nothing went right. Because that was the intention you set when you got up. So set a brand new intention. Set an intention of joy, of happiness. You know, as you all were walking in, I was playing the Today I'm Happy, the Pharrell Williams song, because I thought, oh my gosh, I love that song. Because it's great to get you start moving with. Set an intention that's high. And the other thing is you got to believe in it. Most of us don't believe in ourselves. So we don't believe in whatever that intention is. And we're like, well, this ain't going to work. Well, again, as I said before, if you believe it's not going to work, it's not going to work. Set it and believe it. Surround yourself with positive people. And I say this as gently and lovingly as I can. Get out of the Ain't It Awful Club. Because most of you hear on the news what's going wrong, and everything is bad, and this is wrong, and y'all live in the Ain't It Awful Club. Think about what's going right today. And set that as your intention and your vibration of your day, and believe that at all times. And then take some sort of action. Whatever you're going to do something. If it's to write a book, write. If it's to travel to Italy, write a contessa in Italy. Call the embassy in Italy and said, what can I do to go for vacation?
No, live there.
I understand, but you take a step. Start.
It's a life's vacation.
It's a life's vacation. Whatever it is, take it with joy. Final thoughts?
Final thoughts. I guess my final thought is if I could add something to Sandra's talk, which I think is brilliant, and words I live by every day. I would add, be that person that everyone wants to be around. I am sure that you all have that person in your life. Some people would describe them as the life of the party, but it's a person that exudes joy. No matter what, they find the silver lining, they enter the room with a smile, they make you smile, just because of their nature. That's who they are. Be that person. In my past life, I thought it was really cool to be introspective and sort of keep your head down and do. Not so much anymore. This is good. This is good. Smile. Be that person that everyone wants to be around. It works. I am a living testimonial to everything that Sandra said today and more. It absolutely works. And I did not know her when I decided to change my life, when I had my own epiphany. But practice it. It's great.
Thank you. I tell you that Jean, what I love about Jean is that she was truly able to paint my words in that beautiful cover. And I read her a couple of the affirmations. It was still in rough draft form. And when I got it back, I was blown away that she took my words and was able to paint such a beautiful representation of it. So I am truly, in my gratitude, when it came out, I was like, I'm so grateful. You all can see that. And finally, I invite all of you to join the movement. It's easy. You don't have to do anything. But live life today. Start now. Enjoy your life. Live it today. Be it. Have fun with it. Dream with it. And with that, I thank you.